happening.
Okay.
fourth movement, the biggest hand, I just think you're way too close to the frog. For almost the whole thing. I think it needs to be at the very minimum balance point, and perhaps even past the balance point by a little bit, right? You're just, especially something that gets you, let me move a little closer so I'm in the frame a little, right? If you're right under the hand, you're not in a position to really keep the bow on the string and still keep that power. So think about kind of tilting, put most of your hand weight into your thumb and these front two fingers, and really just get to the balance point or the middle bow, right? Instead of, it's just too close to the hand. If you come out a little, you'll have a lot more control, and you'll allow, right? If you're right here, you can't get any flex between the hair and the stick. If you're here, you can come all the way in and the bow can touch the stick almost, which means that in each one of these strokes, you can kind of flex a little. So you're still on the string, but right? You have so much more control out there, even further. Yeah. Yeah. Keep it on. Don't try to bounce it. Yeah, it's a legato stroke. It's just really fast. Yes. Yeah. And the other thing that gets you in trouble is the string crossings to low strings, right? If you're at the balance point here and you have to cross to the A string, you've given up about 1.5 inches towards the frog.
Yeah.
So you're immediately going to be too close to the hand, right? So if you're crossing down like in right? You're crossing down from the G string and you're back to here. And you're too under the hand. Right? Or whatever it is. Sorry, but yeah. I'm in mid bow. You're gonna get a lot more control at that fast tempo if you just move out. And I think that's my biggest takeaway. It's just the whole thing needs to be lighter and more sort of Mozart in its conception. And the speed will bring the sort of ferocity to it later. I wouldn't try to martel, I wouldn't try to bounce the stroke at all. It just needs it. It's just on. It's just a legato stroke that's going to go. Try a little bit just at the beginning, and just stay in the middle or upper half. Yeah.
That helps so much.
Yeah. It's
Wow.
just too close to the frog.
Okay.
You're trying to go for it, and you just need to let the bow do the work for you. It's doing good, and you definitely have a really good handle on it in the left hand. It's just you're trying to put it at a 10, and it only needs to be at a 6. You know, it just you can back off a little and just let your arm weight and just a little bit this whole stroke should be from the elbow down, basically.
Honestly, I think it's worked because I haven't really played it. Like that was the fastest I ever played it.
Yeah, it's so much easier. You don't have to try. You just it just kind of will roll off. Yeah.
Okay.
That's the idea we should be looking for.
Awesome.
Yeah, the string crossings are getting you because it brings you back to the frog by 1 inch or 2, and it's gonna eat your bow up going that way, and you're just too far into the hand.
I like gave up on the hooks and part of it. I was just like, I can't do the hooks.
Yeah, it's just you can't hook that close. You can't go that fast hooking under the hand. It just doesn't work.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I would have too. It kind of can't be done. Yeah. Let's go back to the scherzo.
Yes.
Similar idea. I would move out from under the hand, closer to the balance point. Maybe not as severely as in this last movement, but if you're under, you're just overpowering the string with too much arm weight. So think about dropping your hand weight closer to middle finger and index finger. Right? Right? Just try G's and then a C. Don't try to bounce it. It doesn't have to. That's close, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And take more room on your first stem bow in the quarters. So it gets a waltzy feel. Yeah. Right? Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I think that's the character that needs to come in. I like your switch to piano. I like your switch to piano in the second one.
Well,
I think you can get more. It'll be easier if you're out a little bit further, right?
Like part of my plan for that was actually to crescendo through that one measure, just like think about it, like so.
Interesting. Yeah. It kind of goes against what's in the music in the sense that you have these forzatos or. I would think more waves. And I think that stroke will be easier if you're just at the balance point, right? I come sideways. I try to lift the arm weight a little without tensing in the shoulders, which not that you did, but it's really common to go. And then you're sunk, right? Because that's never going away until you're done playing, right?
Sure.
So it's just, right? And it's just got to sit there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think just a couple inches out towards the middle, towards the balance point, is gonna make that sort of pop a lot more.
Yeah.
Try the beginning of the second line. Careful of the lengths of the quarters when you're done.
Way too long. Yeah.
Yeah, way too long. Try one more time. Yes. Maybe cover that D, it sticks out. Bum, bum, the open string just comes right. Nope. It's gotta be closed. The open D string is like. Yeah, that's it. It does a lot better. It really sticks out. You can just hear it ring and fills the whole room up. Yes. Yeah, that's exactly right. Careful not to crescendo until the second round of. And it's not until later.
Yeah.
Schubert, he's very deliberate about where he puts his dynamics and how he does them, and I think that's very, very much deliberate.
Okay.
Good. No, this is very good. Dotted quarters are a little bit on the long side. Bum 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 bum. I think they could be an eighth with a rest almost. Dum 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 dum. Even when there's nothing on them, just for the sake of clarity in the whole section, it's going to come through a lot nicer. Let's go back to the first movement.
2 before the end of the first one.
Yeah. There you have the Saccatissimo dots. But even later, there was another spot where you like quarters. Maybe in the first movement. I can't remember.
The quarters at the end of the first movement. Maybe it's that.
No, I thought those were okay. I forget. I'll have to listen back and look at my notes again, but
Okay.
I'll put it in the comments. Back in the first movement, good, very good piano dynamic. Yes, make sure the ends of your phrases are accurate in terms of note length. A lot of those quarters that ended phrases were like very legato half notes that almost blended into beat 3. Right? It feels like you're not doing it justice, but it just needs to taper and click in that way. And another instrument is taking over. You just can't hear it because you're playing by yourself. Is coming over the top of you. At the end, leave room. At the very second to last line, bum ba bum ba bum. Leave yourself room for some of the sforzanos. Some of those started with an accent and went bum ba bum ba bum, right? And it didn't leave you room to make the forzanos, right? Beginning of that phrase doesn't have the accent is on the next arrival. Dum da dum da bum, dum da dum da dum, right? It's counterintuitive with that Schubert. Yeah, sometimes you were putting the accent on the beginning, bum ba bum ba bum, which makes sense in your ear and it sounds better, but it's not quite what's written. And then the last thing, when it starts the crescendo, when you go from low to high, make sure you give the high notes enough bow, right? You were having trouble pacing your crescendo because you would get down and you would start, like when you started originally, dun, da, dun, da, dun, da, dun, da, dun, you were using enough bow, and then it shortened up as you moved down, which is great, and then you immediately have to get out more towards the middle and use more bow speed to go back up to the top of the phrase and keep the dynamic the same, right? What would happen is starts in the E, goes down, 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 then it comes up to the high F. You were losing dynamic at the top because you were using similar bow speed to the stuff at the bottom, and it needs like 3 times that much.
Okay, that was intentional.
Oh, you were trying to like make it sort of wave.
Yeah, is that not cool?
It was a little.
It was too much.
A little too much, I think. It sounded more like just a distribution issue than it did like the waves idea.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'll have to listen again. I'll make a start on that and give it another listen.
I mean, if it didn't sound good, then it didn't sound good. So.
Yeah. I just would be careful because it's just such a super common thing to do that if you're doing it on purpose, you might run the risk of someone not knowing that it's done on purpose. You know, like in an audition, someone's gonna be like, oh, it's just not distributed correctly. You know.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe just something to take a listen back to and be careful of. Good. No, that was most of my comments. Does anyone else have anything? Okay, Brian, how are you on time?
Oh, I'm doing well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who'd like to go next? Really good job, by the way. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks.
Want to give me less comments in person? I can just give me